Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy Bass the Kid. Now let me just apologize real quick for the lighting if it doesn't look quite right at the moment. My big stage lights, they're currently packed away. I can't bother to take them out because realistically they take up way too much space in this small area that I've got to work in, and yeah, so I'm making do with some other additional lighting at the moment. My main lighting overhead, a couple of the main bulbs are blown, as always happens, so I've got to order in some new ones because they aren't typical. They aren't typical bulbs, they take special ones, so that's going to take a couple days, but I guess with everything that's gone on over the last couple of days, there's not going to be much for me to talk about, so hopefully the lighting in the video shouldn't matter too much, but if it does, again, apologies. That being said, please like and subscribe and share the content with a friend, a family member, a work colleague, an enemy, and anyone in between, because I do appreciate all of it. The views are definitely rising at the moment, the subscribers steadily increasing as well. I'd like a few more if possible, so yeah, let's get that working, get that building, and I appreciate all of it. That being said, there's one or two things to talk about, I guess, based off of what's happened in the last couple of days. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Deontay Wilder is still adamant that Tyson Fury cheated or done whatever he done, illegal tactics in their fights. I guess it would have been the second and the third, or maybe just the second one, I'm not sure. But he did an interview the other day, I think it was on Wednesday, possibly it was Tuesday or Wednesday, whereby basically he was asked, well, if you've got all this evidence and this proof that Tyson Fury cheated you, why did you not sue him or get him arrested, take it to authorities, you know, get him put in jail, press some criminal charges? He then went into a very, I can't really say what I want to say for fear of getting my channel shut down, but yeah, he went into some weird speech about how, you know, well, if someone did something to you, like why would you want to get them locked up and put away when you can legally get the chance to have your revenge in the ring, potentially even kill them if possible, and get paid for it? Look, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that, to be totally honest. Okay, look, I can kind of understand on the tip of wanting quote unquote street justice for if you've been wronged, but yeah, none of that makes any sense, because ultimately if he did cheat, then what does that mean? That also means that the money he made would then get, you know, his money would get clawed back, because you can't get paid for foul play, foul intention. So his assets would be frozen. The money he was paid, I guess, would be clawed back from his estate back to the governing bodies, or whatever criminal damages would go to Wilder. So why would you want to go in the ring and, okay, potentially you could hurt and inflict pain on this guy and get paid to do it, but would it not be easier and quicker to get the money from the criminal system and get the money from his estate and hurt him worse by not even allowing him to be paid? Because you're saying that, oh, well, you're gonna inflict your punishment and get paid to do it, but he's getting paid as well. So you're allowing him another payday after he quote unquote cheated you and put egg weights in the gloves or horseshoes or whatever he did, illegal hand wraps that your team went and saw him do. None of it makes sense. So it's like every time I listen to Deontay Wilder, his level of intelligence just astounds me. At one point I actually thought he was a pretty sound guy, but the levels of delusion now, they're off the scale, because none of that makes sense. Like, if a man has cheated and done me wrong, the last thing I'm gonna do is allow him to get paid again, even if the whole plan was to, you know, to quote unquote kill him in the ring, you're still putting money into his account. Like, why would you want to do that? Would it not make more sense to go through the criminal system, get the money taken away from him, which is going to hurt him a lot worse at this point, and then maybe if you need to, you see him unofficially and you sort things out that way? That to me would make a whole lot more sense than what Deontay Wilder was chatting about. So all I can really say is I feel like now he's still struggling to just come to grips with the fact that he got beat up on 2 separate occasions. Yeah, he did better the third time than he did the second, but ultimately, like, some people just have your number, and clearly on this occasion, like, Tyson Fury has his number, and maybe that's what he's struggling to accept, the fact that someone can be badder than him. Well, unfortunately, Tyson Fury is not the only one, my friend. Like, there is many heavyweights that you swerved in the past that would probably have put even a worse beating on you than he did. And maybe he's just vexed and frustrated the fact that he's the own instigator of his downfall. Like, he initiated that himself. He gave Tyson Fury the voluntary shot that he didn't need or didn't deserve just to swerve AJ. Then gave him the rematch when he didn't need to do that either. He still could have got more money from AJ, could have gone a whole nother route. No, he's gone back to this guy because you quote unquote believe he can't punch, and now you're just gonna finish the business you didn't finish the last time. Then you get battered. Then you go back a third time for another beating, thinking, oh, okay, well, that was a one-off. That was okay. So then what happened on the third occasion? If it was all about the suit and your water being spiked and everything the second time, so what happened the third? But now you're talking about you want a potential 4th fight as well. Some people are literal gluttons for punishment, and that's just what this sounds like to me. So yeah, it's funny in some sense, but it's also a bit sad in others. And like, not to you know, clown a man when he's down, because lo and behold, everyone knows I do not like Tyson Fury. There could be some truth to some of the stuff he said. I'm not gonna even try and dismiss that, but right now, sound crazy, sound bitter, and realistically, you know, man needs some healing. So let's hope that the healing can begin at some point in the near future. So if I'm going to be honest, today what you're seeing now is not anything that was actually planned. There was an episode of the Femme Files that was getting ready to be uploaded earlier on. Thank God I didn't upload it though, because the lighting was even worse. And imagine that was earlier on in the day. So I need to redo that. But it was also supposed to be basis picks. I was looking forward to the big boxing that's taking place tomorrow, or at least it should have been, but with the passing of Queen Elizabeth II on Thursday, the British Boxing Board of Control have decided that all boxing events for this weekend will be postponed in, you know, mourning and commemorance of the Queen. Now, look, I get there's a lot of people in this country that will be hurting over that. My personal opinion aside means absolutely nothing. I get that there's a lot of people that are mourning. There's a lot of people that looked up to the Queen and the monarchy, and it symbolized a great deal for them. And I wish them, you know, positive health, healing, condolences and everything to all of them. But here's the one thing I have an issue with. So last night there were several football matches that got played, right? And basically they were played saying it was way too late to cancel them. You know, there was fans in attendance, they've traveled to stadiums, blah blah blah. Okay, there's a bunch of other sports now, cricket, rugby, I think there's a couple others as well that are, you know, currently within the UK that are going ahead this weekend. They're saying, oh, we're gonna continue because maybe our season's too tight, our schedule's too packed. Like to postpone is just gonna cause a backlog that we don't have room for. Okay, cool. But football decided to postpone all of their games over this weekend to commemorate and commiserate the Queen. But the British Boxing Board of Control have decided to do the same thing as well. Now, over here, from what I can remember, there was about 3 or 4 cards. There was a couple small hall shows around the country, and then one major card, which is the Sky and Boxer card, which is displaying women's boxing, or boxing, or the sport of boxing from a woman's perspective, right? First card of its kind, all-female card, 2 extremely competitive championship bouts at the head of that card, 1 undisputed for all the marbles and 1 unified for 3/4 of the the total scale within that particular division. Here's my issue. So if you're going to cancel the small hall shows, okay, you know what, chances are the people on those small hall shows were local to that area. The people coming to watch those people were probably local to that area, because in the small hall shows you have to sell tickets locally, and you get your supporters to come and cheer you on and whatnot. All right, so if you postpone those, well, number one, you're taking food out of people's mouths, literally, because there is no wages. They're not on a salary. They're not on any way where they actually make money unless they fight. So you've taken that away from them. But okay, if you're going to say the small hall shows is one thing, fine. I disagree, but cool. But this event, now forget the fact that I had tickets to go, because at the moment that actually means nothing. But if you look at this card, there are 5 people, I believe, that are on this card that are not UK based or UK citizens. So you got Ginny Fuchs, who was on the undercard. She's a native of the US. I can't remember which state, but her and Michaela Mayer are very close. You got Michaela Mayer, who's from California, Michigan, or Colorado, wherever she's training at the moment. You've got Alicia Baumgardner. She's from Michigan. You've got Clarissa Shields. She's from Michigan in the US as well. I think Sarah Liegman, I think she's from Europe, so I'm not sure how it works with the visas and stuff at the moment. But you've got a bunch of international people on this card that now, who have no allegiance to the Queen, by the way. Like they're not like, they've got no allegiance to this country in that sense. They're literally here on a work visa to be paid and to work, and now they're unable to work. Not only that, they've grafted for the last 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks possibly to get themselves into shape. They've had to cut back on food, on certain nutrients, on whatever, to be able to make weight, to make sure that they come into the ring at the particular weight they're supposed to be at. Even the weigh-ins earlier, they were supposed to weigh in at 1 o'clock. The weigh-ins got moved back to 3 before they could even know what was about to happen. So you've got all of this basically taking place. They can't eat. They don't know if they're going to get paid. Half of them now have got a choice. Do they stay in the UK for the next 4.5 weeks and try and just acclimatize, but keep spending money on hotels and food and travel, and obviously having to their staff as well, because they got to pay for the staff while they're over here, find places to do sparring now, try and stay close to the weight that they've now had to make, and not get not blow up too much afterwards. Obviously some of them probably won't do that anyway because they're professional, but all of this stuff is now things that you've got to consider for an event that quite simply you could have just let go ahead. Not to mention, the same excuse they gave for the football yesterday was that it's too late notice, there's already people that bought their tickets, there's people en route, they're in the stands. There's people that have travelled from America, from Canada, from places in the UAE, from Dubai, to come here this weekend to watch the boxing because of this big event. So what happens to them now? They're here doing what? They've spent a bunch of money. Do you think they're gonna have that same money to come back next month and spend it again? I don't think so. So realistically, yeah, you might say, oh well, look, we'll refund your tickets if you're not able to come to the new date, which you haven't technically confirmed. It's being scheduled provisionally for the 15th of October, but that's not guaranteed yet. So now what do? All right, they're stuck over here, and what? Are you going to reimburse them for the flights that they made? Or to me, it didn't make any sense to cancel that card. Especially, as I said, the majority of the fighters, especially like the main events of that card, they're all Americans. They're USA citizens. They're not Brits. They don't live over here. So even them trying to do sparring and all that sort of stuff, it's not as easy for them because they don't have the same connections that the local talent does. So to me, that was it's wrong, to be honest. And I do hope that all of them, every single person, even the Brits, them included, but I hope that every single person's compensated in some way, shape or form. And I hope that their teams or their entourage or whoever came over to support them is also compensated. Whether that's, getting another ticket, a complimentary flight booked next time, or just covering maybe the cost of their hotel on this occasion or something. I don't know. Whatever can be worked out needs to be worked out. Because I saw a boxer talking earlier where they was basically saying, oh, like, yeah, look, there's financial implications and we're going to kind of sort those out with everyone involved thus far. But they was only talking about the fighters and their teams. They wasn't talking about the fans that have already spent their money. Because what about even the fans who booked, they might have been coming from the northeast. So some of them might have already traveled down for the weigh-ins and they're down here now. They've booked accommodation down here. They can't cancel that because they'll lose their deposit or they'll lose the money for that. So it's not even just international people. It's the people that have traveled from the north to come down here. Because realistically, you're not gonna drive 5.5 hours down, watch a full night of boxing, probably drink as well, because they like a drink, and then travel 5.5 hours back same night. No, you're probably gonna have accommodation. So it's just literally messed up everyone, and I don't think it's fair at all. Like I said, it's not even about me because I live 10-15 minutes away from the O2 Arena. Like it doesn't affect me apart from obviously just being able to make sure I can make the next date. But I'm thinking about those fighters that have basically put their whole lives on hold for the last 3 months, have had to miss out on probably birthdays and special events, can't eat, can't drink at certain times, can't celebrate with loved ones. Had to do all that sacrificing, and now some of them, like I said, come over 1 week, 2 weeks early to come and to make sure that they make weight and they're professional and be responsible, to now have nothing to show for it and to have to be held on and taper on for another 4 or 5 weeks. I truly hope that they get some kind of additional like bonus or commission or something on these bouts. I really do. That's all of them, even though people I don't like, because I want everyone to be given a fair shake, and at this point I just don't think it's been handled fairly at all. Certain things, certain events you can maybe cancel, you can maybe postpone and whatever. I don't think this was one of them that needed to or that had to be. And to be totally honest, from what I've seen online, I admit it's a very small boxing community. But even outside of that, in some other areas that I've seen, there's absolutely no one that's saying that they wanted their weekends cancelled because of this. The woman, I mean, look, unfortunately, the woman was 96 years old. It was inevitable that death was around the corner at some point. So should we not be celebrating the life of the monarch of this country for the last 70 years, as opposed to being sad? Unless you're mourning the fact that now it's Prince Charles or King Charles that's now in that might be a whole nother story. But yeah, look, you know what, let me not go on too much longer with regards to this. I just, like I said, it's messed up my content for the week. It's messed up my plans for the weekend. The only good thing is, the only silver lining I have is that it's my godson's birthday party tomorrow, and I was gonna have to go and then leave early, now I'll stay till the end. That's the only thing I can take from this, but that wasn't a situation I had in my mind. And like I said, hopefully, I just want Alicia Baumgardner, Michaela Mayer, Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, and everyone else on the card to get paid an additional bonus for having to stay on wait for the next 4.5 weeks or whatever, or accommodation to them and their supporters who have come from far and wide, from a transatlantic and everything else. But for now, look, let me leave that there. I haven't really got much else to say about it. Leave your thoughts down below if you care to. And if this isn't the kind of content you was wanting, I apologize. Like I said, this wasn't what I had planned for today. You guys know what the schedule normally is, but I'll see if I'm in a better mood tomorrow, see if there's anything that pops up that I can maybe give a thought about. Otherwise, I'll just go out and try and enjoy the day as best I can. But for now, Hardcore Casual out.